Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of Checks and Balances TV. In honor of Father's Day this weekend, today's program is entitled Father Knows Best. Or does he? Financial tips that you should and shouldn't embrace from your father's generation. So let's see how today's news may impact your financial future. Father's Day is this Sunday, and according to the National Retail Federation, dads nationwide stand to get a bump in their holiday gifts this year. According to its annual survey, Americans are ready to spend more money on dad, up from an average of $94 in 2010 to over $106 this year. This will be the most money ever spent on a Father's Day gift in the survey's 8-year history. Okay, so what's really going on here? Let's check the facts using our checks and balances process. Faced with a tough economy and budgeting decisions, consumers nationwide have put Father's Day on the back burner for many years, says the National Retail Foundation. This year, though, total Father's Day spending is expected to reach $11.1 billion. And the gap between what is spent on Mother's Day at an average of $140.73 has narrowed substantially. According to the survey, more people will be taking dad on outings this year, spending $2.1 billion on activities like golf or dining out. Dads will also receive $1.4 billion in gift cards, $1.3 billion in electronics, $1.4 billion in tools and appliances, $653 million in sporting goods, almost $600 million in books or CDs, and $593 million in automobile accessories. I certainly hope my 4 kids are paying attention. Ironically, the fact that consumers are starting to open their wallets a bit more recently and are becoming more comfortable with spending can be attributed largely to their fathers. According to creditcards.com, in collaboration with a research study performed by Kansas State University, a father's financial advice, or lack thereof, influences fiscal behavior in their children. For most families, dad is the breadwinner who sets the tone for borrowing, spending, and saving money. The study also found that parents who ignore the financial reality in their own lives can hurt their kids in the long run, as they set a poor example to follow. Behaviors such as carrying large credit card balances or buying things they really can't afford can negatively affect their children. The study concluded that parents who openly talk about money set a good financial example and provide their children with financial education and responsibility. Okay, so now that we've checked the facts, let's balance this news using our checks and balances process to determine what action you should take today. The same study found that nearly half of adults still turn to their parents when making a financial decision, particularly dad for their big-ticket purchases. And some of those tried and true financial lessons still reign true today. The fact that children put a limit on what they spent on gifts in the past few years is a tribute to the positive impact that fathers may have had on their spending behavior. And as the country has been experiencing tough financial times recently, a cut in non-essential spending would be prudent for most Americans. However, not all of dad's financial lessons should be taken to the bank. Children of parents who use installment credit, meaning they don't pay their balance off each month, are more likely to become installment users as well. If dad only paid the minimum amount on his credit card statement each month, or was habitually late on paying the bills, his children will likely have some of the same issues. An individual who grows up in a family that is financially dysfunctional is likely to be undisciplined and unknowledgeable about how to deal with their own personal finances. However, children can't blame their parents forever. They must become aware of their own buying habits and use of credit and strive to create new habits. Parents who want guidance on how to instill positive financial habits in their children can turn to resources such as mymoney.gov, americasaves.org, and checksandbalances.tv. Okay, so what's the bottom line here? Parents who talk about money and display good financial habits, like budgeting and paying bills on time, can improve their children's financial future. However, parents who ignore the financial reality in their own lives and never discuss money can pave a road to financial ruin and a lifetime of debt for their children. On Father's Day, think about what you want your children to learn about money, and take a moment to share with them the basic foundations of a healthy financial life, such as saving for a rainy day, living within their means, and understanding the benefits of delayed gratification when purchasing a big-ticket item with cash. Rather than buy now and pay later, how about teach them to save now and then buy later? The old adage that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree is especially true when referring to money. Parents should talk openly with their kids about both the good and bad decisions they have personally made with money, so that their kids can learn from their parents' mistakes and also profit from their successes. And now for Matt's weekly financial tip, tool, or technique. Today's financial lesson is on the wisdom or pitfalls of following your father's financial advice. So to begin with, here are 2 things that you should not follow in your dad's footsteps. Number 1, stashing money in your mattress. Fathers who grew up during or shortly after the Great Depression are the ones most likely to give this advice. People lost faith in banks back then and felt the safest place for their money was close to home. The biggest problem with this strategy, though, aside from a house fire or robbery, is the money that's stashed away has no potential for growth. Now, keeping a few $100s at home is a good idea in the event of a natural disaster or personal emergency, but don't overdo it. Number 2, saving money for others and not yourself. Most fathers are adamant about stashing money away for their children's education, especially fathers who did not go to college themselves. However, if stashing money away in a college fund means that you're ignoring putting money away in a retirement account for yourself, you're doing both your child as well as yourself an incredible disservice. Growing your nest egg is one of the most important things you can do for your children, which is making sure that you do not become a financial burden to them down the road. So be sure to save for your future as well. Now here are 2 things you should follow from good old Dad. Number 1, live within your means, or really under your means. Your father's generation knew what it meant to not buy something unless they had the cash to pay for it. Now I know that's not realistic for every purchase, like a home or new automobile today, but make sure that you don't end up with more month at the end of your money each month. And number 2, put down a minimum of 10 to 20% when buying a home or automobile. Even if a mortgage company or car dealership offers you no money down terms to get you into that car or home of your dreams, turn it down. If you don't, you'll end up feeling like you're on the pay it forever plan, which no one wants to live with down the road. By the way, if you pay just 1 extra mortgage payment each year, you can reduce your 30-year mortgage down to just 23 years. So when it comes to your finances, the truth is that some, but not all, of our father's financial lessons are best. When receiving fatherly financial advice, just as any other financial advice, it's important for you to do the research and make sure that those strategies are the best option for you and your future. In this week's CBTV poll, we're asking Americans an important question. How big of an influence did your father have on your financial behavior? Log on to answer this poll at www.checksandbalances.tv. And while you're on the site, be sure to watch our newest video in the Lighter Side of Finance series. It's entitled, What Am I Supposed to Do with This Prospectus? It's a funny look at most 300 to 400 page prospectuses and what most people end up doing with them. And finally, remember that only you can control your financial future. You can succeed. You just need confidence and determination. I'm Matthew J. Reddick from Checks and Balances TV. Until next week, dump debt, invest wisely, believe in yourself, and make it happen.